They walk into their classrooms every morning, carrying more than just lesson plans. Some carry the weight of self-doubt, dwindling confidence, and unspoken frustration. And then there's you, their leader, watching, waiting, wondering, how do I help them succeed? It's the question every new or aspiring building leader must face sometime or another. But the answers, they may surprise you. I'm Dr. Mel, and this is Empowered Educator. Hi, friend. Are you ready to move into a leadership position? Do you have interests and ambitions that you want to pursue, but feel like you don't know how to take that next step? Maybe you want to start your own coaching or consulting agency. I'm Mel, and I help educators define their career path through correct mindset, knowing your options, and getting prepared for your career transition. I will show you how to level up your leadership skills, share your expertise in a new way, create impact on a larger scale, and put your leadership in motion. As an educator for over 20 years, I started to feel underused and like I had more to give. I knew when the time had come for me to leave the classroom and affect change on a larger level. Now, I'm ready to help you determine where your talents and skills mesh with your passions and interests, put your leadership in motion, and move into that next phase of your educational career journey. Let me help you define your career path by having the right mindset, knowing your options, and getting prepared for that next leadership position. So power up and put your leadership in motion. Being a leader isn't about having all the answers. It's about knowing the right questions to ask and being brave enough to take action when things get messy. Today, I'm talking about one of the toughest, most delicate responsibilities of leadership, supporting struggling teachers. These educators are in every school, every building. You know the ones that are just treading water, their passion flickering like a candle on the verge of extinguishing. But here's the twist. It's not just about saving their flame. It's about fanning it back to life in a way that transforms their teaching, their classrooms, and yes, their students. How do you do that? It begins with feedback, coaching, and a whole lot of heart. Imagine this, a teacher nervous and unsure standing at the front of the classroom. The students are restless and lessons falter. And you, as the leader, sit quietly in the back, observing it all as it unfolds. You take notes, jot down strategies, but the question looms large. What will you say to them afterward? Or should you step in and give them some feedback now to get them back on track? Feedback is easy when things are going well. Great job. Love that technique. But when they're struggling, when their confidence is teetering on the edge of collapse, that's when leadership gets real. Here's where I think back to my own first time as a building leader. I was new, nervous, and unsure of myself. The teacher, let's call her Ms. V, was overwhelmed. Her classroom management was shaky, and her lessons often unraveled. I had two choices: avoid tough conversations and hope things improved, or step in with honesty and empathy. I chose the latter, but it wasn't easy. Giving hard feedback is rarely easy. It does get easier as you practice because you're more confident, but it's still hard every time. And what comes next is even harder. Actionable feedback. What does that even mean? For me, it meant picking one specific area and addressing it specifically. It could be an area of classroom management or organization, or it could be actual instructional methods that need to be improved. Instead of giving your teachers an overwhelming list of fixes, zero in on one thing, one actionable step that they can correct right then and there before you leave the classroom, and then you can look for mastery of that specific step next week. Maybe it's transitions, tightening them, practicing them, refining them. Small wins. But small wins can spark big change. But feedback alone isn't enough. Feedback is the seed. Coaching is the sunlight and water that helps it grow. Yet many leaders get stuck here. How do you go beyond here's what to fix and move toward here's how I'll help you fix it? Let me tell you about another teacher, a teacher who struggles with classroom engagement. His students aren't connecting with his lessons, and he knows it. During our post-observation meeting, I don't just hand him a list of strategies and walk away. I pull out one of my favorite tools, modeling. Together we plan a lesson. Then I co-teach it with him. He watches me engage his students. And after, we debrief every moment, the wins, the stumbles, and everything in between. Coaching isn't about showing off what you know. It's about standing shoulder to shoulder with your teachers, walking through the hard parts together. And here's the kicker. When that teacher starts applying those strategies, he doesn't just become better, he becomes great. And when a struggling teacher becomes great, it changes everything, not just for them, but for their students, their colleagues, and yes, even for you. But let's not sugarcoat it. Supporting struggling teachers is hard work. It requires patience, resilience, and a willingness to dig deep. And sometimes, despite your best efforts, the results aren't immediate. So why do we do it? For me, it goes back to watching one of my teachers who struggled with classroom management. She would try to get louder than the kids, but her voice was such that she sounded like one of the students, and they didn't realize she was even talking to them. I coached her on how to lower her register and slow down her tone, and that made all the difference. And seeing her not only grow but excel with her classroom management was worth it all. Leadership isn't about perfection. It's about persistence, and it's about leading with heart. Your actionable steps to support those struggling teachers. Number 1, focus on one area for improvement. After observing a struggling teacher, identify the one most pressing issue impacting their instruction, whether it's classroom management, lesson pacing, or student engagement. Narrowing the focus avoids overwhelming them and sets the stage for success. For example, if the transitions between activities are chaotic, work together to script and practice smooth transitions during planning time. Number 2, use the feedback loop. Share feedback in a 3-part structure. First, highlight a strength. Start with something that they're doing very well to build their confidence. Then, identify a key opportunity. Focus on just one actionable improvement step and explain why it's important. Then, provide the next step. Share a specific strategy or resource that they can implement immediately. For instance, if their pacing feels rushed, you might say, here's their strength. You're clearly excited about the content and your enthusiasm shines through. Here's the opportunity. Students seem to need a little bit more time to process key points before moving on. Then you give them the next step. Let's build in 3 check for understanding moments during tomorrow's lesson, and I'll sit in and help with timing. A small piece of feedback is so much easier to not only take, but to fix. Remember, it's not about fixing everything at once. It's about showing up consistently and compassionately until the seeds of growth take root. Because when you invest in your teachers, you're investing in your entire school community. And that, my friends, is the heart of your leadership. If this episode sparked something for you, don't keep it to yourself. Share it with a colleague or friend stepping into leadership. They need this just as much as you do. And if you're ready for even more tools and support, visit the Empowered Educator community for resources, coaching, and a community that's here to help you lead with purpose. You can find the link in the show notes. Until next time, keep learning, keep growing, and keep leading with heart.